right, man. This is what they we could call this the Michael Jordan of our podcast.
Love it.
You following along?
I am.
You what I'm putting down?
Yeah, MVP type.
23. That's what I was walking you to, Steve. Yeah, it's the 23rd episode of the Move the Needle podcast.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah. What did you think I was talking about?
The MVP. No, I get it. No, the goat of basketball.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So it's good. We're up at HomeSmart today. We're gonna hang out in this really cool space that they've got upstairs and sit down with Jarrett in just a little while. She's a philanthropist, a thought leader, and an all-around good person who's over there right now taking pictures of us with her phone. And first, we're gonna be sitting down with a woman named Kari who empowers people in all kinds of ways, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation. Have you had a chance to meet our two guests before today, Steve?
They came in a little early. I got to say hello.
Okay, good.
You got a little bit of the backgrounds before you came crashing in and getting things set up, so I know they're excited. I know a little bit about the background and the space Kari's in. Mostly women, but handles everybody. And we're going to talk about self-confidence.
Yes.
And how she boosts self-confidence.
Let's jump right in, man. This is it. It's a great conversation. Kari, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you for having me.
So good to have you here. I just noticed your amazing tattoo on your wrist, which looks like it was drawn by your daughter.
This was actually drawn by my son.
Your son, okay.
Yes,
I was going to say a
5,
kid, right?
my child.
Yeah,
yes, it says, "Mommy, I love you." It was the very first thing he ever wrote to me.
Isn't that sweet? We'll get a picture of it. We'll put it on social media.
That is.
I love it when people do that, grab something your kids made and tat it up on your body.
Yes.
Like, you have more tattoos on your body?
I have a lot of them.
You do?
Yes.
Yeah, when did you start?
Oh, boy. When did I start? My first one was in 2008, and I just keep getting at least one every single year.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by tattoos. Steve, do you have any?
No.
Yeah, I've got a couple. I've got a couple here, a couple on my arms, and I want to do more. My rule is I just have to wait until till it's so clear. Like both of the ones that I have, it was like I saw them before they even made it to my body.
You knew exactly what you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was your first tattoo?
My first tattoo was this one on my wrist right here that hopefully says inner peace and happiness. Hopefully that's what it says.
Is that the interpretation?
Well,
or?
it looks like
it's characters.
Yeah.
It was my post-divorce tattoo, my very first tattoo. So
I love it. And it means what again?
Hopefully inner peace and happiness.
Have you ever shown it to anybody
have
that
not.
might be able to read it and be like,
I have
hey,
not.
Can you double check this for me? That's so good.
There's probably AI that can check that now.
Maybe.
Take a
That's
picture
good,
of that.
Good idea.
Well, let's segue to inner peace. A lot of what you do, I was looking you up online and, I'll read some of what you can find on Kari's website. It says, when a woman sees her real, beautiful self staring back at her in a portrait, a mindset shift takes place. She feels a newfound confidence and a sense of the true beauty living within her, knowing that she is enough, just as she is.
Just as she is.
And I'm like, okay, this is loaded, and I can't wait to get into this. And so now Kari takes pictures, she speaks, she podcasts. Where do you want to begin? I mean, what one of your pillars can we open up first?
Well, let me just give you a brief summary of, you've kind of said what I do, but so I am known around the Valley as a branding photographer for women business owners and women executives. I photograph dudes too, but mostly I'm known for photographing women.
See, I picked that up.
Yeah.
But on a deeper level, I really help women and men who avoid the camera or who avoid the mirror to change their relationship with their bodies and to really rediscover their confidence. And I do that through a number of ways. One of those is photography, branding photography. So people have just like amazing, powerful portraits of themselves for their business. I do that through boudoir photography as well.
Have you ever had a boudoir shot?
Never.
No?
No. Well, you know what? Men's boudoir is a thing, and I offer it in my studio. So
really?
You never know, guys. Yeah, one of these days, absolutely.
How about
what
you?
is the general reaction of the wife or the girlfriend when they see is it positive?
Yes. So I have not done a lot of boudoir photography for men because it's not as popular among men or known as much. But I did a photo shoot for my husband actually, and I shared his photos on social media, and not only was I super impressed by them, but so many women reached out to me and said,
really?
I know this is really weird, but your husband is hot.
Yeah.
So you're asking for a reason. It's time for you to do it. You're asking me. It's Matthew.
Listen, I want to raise the temp in my marriage,
do it.
bro. Like,
you got the tats. You got the tats.
It's both ways.
Show it
If you
off.
see boudoir photos of your wife, do you like those?
You look them in, right?
I mean, it's the same thing, right? It's the opposite way.
The same thing.
It is.
I think what it'll do for the podcast.
What?
Think what it'll do for the podcast.
What, for me to take?
No, if those go on social media. I mean, the MTN podcast
Steve,
with
those
you.
would be for me. Not other
She
people.
said she put them on social media so you can get Nicolette to put them on social media.
We're joking
Definitely.
around, but
Okay.
there is a serious aspect to these boudoir photos,
You
which
know,
is the confidence that people then see themselves
It's
in.
it's body image, right? When it comes down to it, both women and men suffer from negative body image, right? In different ways. It's much more prevalent for women to talk about it than men. You know, men hold it in, don't talk about those things with their guy friends. You know, me and Jarrett will sit around and talk about it for days, but men don't talk about it. So boudoir and any kind of photography, honestly, but especially boudoir, is definitely a way to explore our bodies and to see that no matter our age or our weight or whatever it is, that we are amazing and our bodies are amazing and hot and sexy just as they are.
So when people look in the mirror, when women or men look in the mirror, what do you want them to see? What do you want them to look back and see?
I just want them to accept themselves. I mean, they're going to see what they want to see. I can't, control that. But, I just want them to accept that their bodies are what their bodies are, no matter if they're rounder or trimmer or taller or shorter.
So it's
and just
acceptance.
know that it's just okay. Our bodies are all okay just as they are.
I was kind of looking forward to this conversation because I thought, here's an opportunity for me to be a little bit open about myself. And like, I have always had body image issues for myself. I've always hated how tall and skinny I was. I've always hated that I could never put on weight, right? I've always hated that I could never build muscle. I've just always been this lean twig. And I know it goes on both sides of the spectrum, right? But it is one of those things that I don't think I've ever really talked about it.
Well, let's talk about it a little bit. I mean, what is it about those things that you hate? I mean, why do you hate those things about yourself?
Yeah, I think I just wish I could put on some muscle and be a little stronger.
Because society has told men that they should be muscular, right? And that they should be bulky and they should be, not super skinny and very very masculine and manly, right? And I'm not saying that you're none of those things, but society tells us that we should be a certain way, and then it makes us feel really shitty about ourselves. Really bad about ourselves when we're not that way. It's the same with women, right?
Well, Kari, at least Matthew has something he can maybe do something about. I have noticed, and it never dawned on me till unfortunately, I got divorced a couple years ago, and now I'm on the single market. And what you don't realize, Matthew, is you got a huge advantage. You hit 6.0. You are 6 feet. You have a pool of women out there that if you are under, they don't even talk to you. And what are you going to do? What am I going to do about it? I have nothing I can do about that.
Let's turn to the expert.
And that's a thing that society has told you, that you are
and you know exactly what I'm talking about.
A certain height of a man, and you are short, and people will not be attracted to you, right?
Under 6 feet. It's not only me. It's if you are under 6 feet.
If you don't have muscles, women won't be attracted to you. If you don't have hair, women won't be attracted to you, right? Same with women, right? If I'm curvy, men won't be attracted to me. If I'm this, men won't be attracted to me.
I think, I think that it's a little different because this is my opinion since we're talking about men and women. Let me give it my
okay.
So I think my opinion is men are much more forgiving on some of those traits if at least the men that I know, if they're given the type of love and respect from that woman, I'll say, that they feel like they get. I think it supersedes looks. I think women feel like, my opinion, that their looks are higher on the scale sometimes than they are for men. Just my opinion.
That is definitely an opinion. Thank you for sharing that.
And I think people should hang their hat.
That's not my opinion for sure, right? So
okay. Well, I think looking good and feeling good, but I think it's part of being good enough is also who you are inside, right? So that's what I guess I'm trying to say. So a person that's that inside, Kari, can supersede all those issues.
I mean, when it comes down to it, we are all judged on our outer appearance, right? Like you are judged by women on your outer appearance. I am judged by men on my outer appearance as well, right? Like we both are. What's unfortunate is that our outer appearance is literally the least interesting thing about us. Yeah. Literally the least interesting thing about us, right? The way what we're wearing on the outside. What's most interesting is our heart, our mind, like what comes what comes out of us, what good and love and beauty that we all put out into the world, right? And if people can't see that, if people are judging you because of your height, that's on them, right? If people are judging me because of my weight, that is on them. And that is not my problem. That is their problem. So all you have to do is like not take that really personally and just know that that's unfortunate on their side, right? And move on to the next person because you don't want in their time anyway.
I get it. So don't buy the shoes that jack me up falsely 2-3 inches and fake it. Just go with myself, right, Matthew? Right?
You do what you got to do to feel your best, but I don't think you need to do that.
So what do you need to do about your muscles? What are you going to do about it?
Well, just looking
You don't
to
need
take
to
a
do
lot
anything
of
about it.
roids, man, until I like lose my neck and my everything. No, I mean, I've accepted it. I don't think this way every day of my life anymore, but I was just, that is a thought that goes through my head from time to time, right? I go into the gym and you look at these dudes and you're like, bro, how did you get like that?
And think about how much time they spend in the gym, though. Is that a high value of yours to spend all that time in the gym? Or
this is what I always go back to.
What is your highest value? Like your highest value is coming out and having these connections with people in the community and not doing that kind of stuff.
Exactly
so you're not going to get those big muscles, and that's okay because not every woman is also attracted to big muscles. Aren't you married, by the way?
Yes.
So also it doesn't really matter, right, when it comes down to it. But like you don't need to be like everyone else is what I'm getting at, right?
Totally.
Like you can be yourself, and you are handsome and great just as you are.
Yeah, well, sure. I love that. And this is the reason that I wanted to go down this road, because this is such a good conversation for people to listen to. Because all of us have these little insecurities, and those little insecurities tell us this mean little nasty story in our head.
Absolutely.
And then because of that mean little nasty story, that's how we wake up and show up into the world. That's how we approach business. That's how we approach life. That's how we approach relationships. And I know I'm in your wheelhouse right now. But that's why I wanted to uncover this a little bit, because it has such a big impact on how we show up for the world.
100%. It shows. I mean, it's impactful for how we show up in our personal lives, but also in our business lives, right? Like this is
let's
what
go down this road.
This is definitely something that I am. So I give a keynote talk to women at their conferences, at whatever meetings they're at, and it's called Bodies and Business: The Hidden Impact of Body Image on Our Professional Growth and Success.
I'll bet your presentation is fun.
It is fun, and there's some really fun stuff that happens in it as well. But we don't talk about it enough, how much our body image is actually impacting us in our businesses, right? From not being photographed or not showing up for a podcast because we don't like how we look or we're afraid of how people are going to judge us. I mean, from not speaking on stage, right? From not putting ourselves out there as much as we could be to further our businesses. So we just really need to talk about, and it's not, I know that I work mostly with women. I speak mostly to women, but it affects men and women just the same.
100%.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the women that you work with, what are some of the tools that you offer them to kind of to start to unravel that story a little bit and peel that back so that they can do that thing that you mentioned, which is to know that they're enough?
To know that they're enough. Well, so one of the first things that I do is I always kind of start with this question, and it's a question that you guys can ask yourselves too. Okay, right?
Play along at home if you're watching.
So right, it's the story that you tell yourself about that you're too short, right? Or
I'm not too short. I'm just saying that society tells us that.
Right. But it's a story that's in your head that clearly impacts you.
Let me clarify for everybody here in the audience.
No,
I'm not going to walk back. I always thought I was fine. I'm 5'10". I thought it wasn't until
you are like the average height of a man.
A little bit higher. Yeah. A little bit. But anyways, higher on above the average a little bit. But I always thought it was fine until I got in this single market and I started hearing the feedback. I did not realize that being under 6 feet is such a disadvantage in that market. I guess that's what it is.
Gotcha.
You know what? It is what it is. I am what I am. Trust me.
Well, you tell yourself a story that you are not muscular enough, right? And so, where I really want to start is like, are these stories even your own? Right?
Of course not.
It's not your story. Like so that's where we start with. Like, where did these stories even come from? Did they come from a parent? A lot of times they came from a parent telling us that we needed our bodies to be different. I had a lot of those stories growing up from one of my parents.
It just hit me. I think I know where mine came from.
Where? Do you want to share it?
It's the first time I've ever really thought about this. Yeah, no, I know exactly when it was. I was a freshman in high school, and I was on the hockey team, and I wasn't getting any playing time because I wasn't big enough to compete with these juniors and seniors. And my coach was all over my ass about how small I was, how tall I was, how skinny I was, and how I couldn't play physical.
So you had a jerky coach, And that is a
I
story.
have to pay you after this.
I know,
don't
right?
I have to pay her for this. This is really good. We are on a couch.
I do one-on-one coaching. I do photography sessions as well to help you with all this. but honestly, that's a story that a jerky coach told you,
right?
And that you have carried that with you for how many years now?
Yes, it's been more than 100.
Yeah, more than 100 years. Yes. Wow, you are. I didn't realize you were that old.
Yeah, thank you.
You look really great for your age, by the way. So really, that's the first question that I always ask, and the answer is the story is never their own, right? They didn't start off telling them stories. They heard this from a parent. They heard this. They were teased as a child by a peer. They heard it from a jerky coach. Society, we read magazines and all the things, and then we hear it from society. So that's really where I start, and then we just there are so many different levels of it, but that's definitely the place where I would start.
And I hope everybody at home is kind of playing along. Like, there's so much freaking value in figuring out where that story came from.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
I mean, this is what I spend a lot of my life talking
that's
about
the
too.
first place to really dig in. Like, it's not even your story. Where did it come from? Let's acknowledge it. We don't have to be mad at our parents. We don't have to be mad at our coach. Like, it's accepting it. It happened. It is what it is. But now we know, and now we can take that out of our brain and we can move forward without that story in our head. And like, what new stories can you create for yourself?
Yeah. Are we at a position in the podcast where we could talk about some of the strategies you have for building a positive body image? Are there a couple of cornerstone things that you can name that would be really helpful for people outside of because I think you're right. Mm-hmm. Let's get to the root cause, which is the story. Right. So, but that takes some courage.
That takes some digging deep and some vulnerability and all sorts of stuff.
Right.
Absolutely.
Are there easier, lower hanging pieces of fruit?
There are always. One of the things that I do with clients is I definitely do affirmations with them, right? Yeah. So affirmations about their body, or even non-body related affirmations where they can just look at themselves in the mirror. It's called mirror gazing, where they're saying these affirmations to themselves in the mirror. It really helps, right? After time, I mean, it becomes part of your story and becomes part of your psyche, and you start to believe that. So that's a really easy one to do. And the other one is really to cultivate our social media so that we see people who we want to see on our social media. Like, I follow a lot of really curvy women, and the more that I see curvy women and I'm like, dang, she's so beautiful, it's amazing. I'm like, oh, well, my curves, okay, I look like her, that must be amazing too, right? We are the hardest on ourselves, but if we can start seeing it in our social media or whatever we're watching, it just becomes more normalized for us. And then if you start seeing a bunch of maybe go to the gym, but maybe don't go to the gym as much or something. You won't see those those bulky guys as much.
I've made peace with that part of it.
Sure,
and,
sure.
For me, what's critically important is just longevity.
Yeah.
And so part of longevity is just being flexible, being strong, having balance.
Right.
So that's what I focus on.
And let's face it, you work out hard, and you actually do look good, Matthew. Let's compliment you. You look good. Your hard work you got some good results from it.
Bring me the hottest guy in the world, bring me the hottest girl on the planet, and I promise you they will both have things about themselves that they don't like.
Right.
Every single person, no matter what they look like, you might think that they are the most beautiful, handsome man, woman in the world, and they will find things about themselves that they do not like.
The dude that I'm drooling on in the gym.
The one piece of hair that he's got, the colic piece of hair that drives him crazy.
Yeah, something like that.
Every single person has something about themselves that they don't like. Max, you want to jump in on this conversation? Is there something about yourself that you don't like?
Underneath all of this,
yeah,
white as paper.
White as paper.
Okay, so his story is he's got really pale skin.
Yeah. I mean, it's. And it's like no one probably really cares, but you care. Like, it's a thing for you, So no one really cares that you're tall and skinny, right? Like, people are probably like, "Wow, look at that dude. He's tall and skinny." You know what I mean? Like, he's got a great physique or something. No one cares. Like, we are the harshest on ourselves, but when it comes down to it, we're also busy in our lives, and we've got so much going on that we think everyone's judging us on things, but really, honestly, people just care about themselves, and that's not in a bad way. Like, we're busy. We have a lot going on in in our lives, right? Like, we care about ourselves.
This is a good guest right here, man. I like this conversation.
And may I ask, is this the point in the podcast where it's my turn to go after that heartwarming story.
Oh.
Is
Cue
it?
the music.
Yeah.
Oh.
Matthew gets the music going. No, I want to hear that heartwarming story. One of your portrait sessions that you've had. It could be recently or really moved you that you could share with our audience.
That really moved me. Oh man,
Name
they
one of
all
the 1,000
they
women
they
you've
they
translated.
honestly.
I guess they all do.
They all move me.
Then let's pick one out
truly.
that stands out and share it.
Oh gosh. Well, I had a woman in not very long ago who was just doing some headshots, but I don't know. I think the last time she had photos taken was like 10 years ago or something, and she had literally been reaching out to me for like 2 or 3 years to get headshots done, and we finally did it. And as she's going through her photo or her photo shoot, I walk people through different expressions, like a non-smile, a medium smile, a big laughy smile, and you guys really should come in and hear my big laughy smile because it's hilarious. Anyway, I'm not doing it right now, but you'll have to come in for a photo session for that. No, sorry, got to begin the photo session for that.
But put down a deposit, and then you get the laugh.
I'm about to.
Yeah.
But she wouldn't really smile. And so we sat down with her and asked her, and I said, and then when she was even picking out her pictures, she wasn't picking out any of her like bigger smile pictures. And I said, after a while, I asked, I push back on people. I mean, a very loving way, right? Like I really want to know, why aren't you picking any pictures of yourself smiling? And she said, because my mom told me that I didn't have a nice smile.
There it is.
Wow.
And I said to her, is that actually your story? We know it wasn't, right? She literally just said that. And, but so we kind of had that discussion for a little while, and then she looked at her pictures a lot differently. It can change that quickly,
yes.
Right? And so I even then went out, because it was such a profound moment where she was like, whoa, that is not my story. Oh my gosh, I've been carrying this, she's 55 years old for 55 years. And so I went on social media even, and I asked that question in a live video, and people were like, oh my gosh, I hadn't even thought about that before. So it really is a truly profound question that we should all be asking ourselves when we are able to catch those stories that we hear in our heads. So anyway, there's so many moments like that.
Thank you for sharing that.
One.
Again, that's what I was after. That it's an aha moment where somebody it actually changed their life. Like, I actually have a beautiful smile. People like my smile. What am I doing hiding this smile?
Right. Exactly. I mean, and smiles, no matter if they're lopsided or they're gummy or whatever, they're beautiful
amazing.
And they're joy. They're
Lead with
joy.
a smile.
They're just joyful. So yeah.
I think that I know everybody on planet Earth should be booking this woman to come in and speak at
I
their
completely
conferences.
agree with you.
Yeah, no, I mean,
no fighting that.
listen,
You keep talking like that, maybe she will give you that
we don't
smile.
know each other. We're not best friends. You don't know the work I do. I don't know all the work you do, right? But a lot of the stuff that I work in my life with is the idea of breaking the cycle of dysfunction.
100%.
Okay, and my remedy to that is a very similar sequence to the stuff that you talk about. It's like, let's walk this thing back a little bit. Let's figure out why you're living the life you're living, why you act the way you do, why you make the decisions you do, why you talk the way you do, why you all of it. Let's figure it out.
Right.
And then once we get back to that root cause, now we can start to renegotiate what life would look like.
Exactly.
Like, what could this thing look like?
With those different stories.
Right?
Yeah.
And then probably you have a similar model to me, which is like, then we have to release some things. We have to set some things down that we've been carrying, right? Because they're not serving us anymore. And then the next step is like, now I'm going to love myself. Now I'm going to start doing things for me. Now I'm going to start pouring into myself.
Right.
And then the next step is, now I'm going to reprogram the way that I show up for people and the way that I reprogram and show up in
100%.
life and business, right?
And you do it through one medium, right? And I do it through photography. It is
it.
exact same thing. Yeah.
This is why I said what I said, because this message to me is this is how you fix the world. People have to know that they're good enough. That to me, like, people say the world's crazy, and I said the way to fix it is actually if everybody woke up tomorrow morning and loved themselves.
I could not agree with you more. This is
nothing would happen.
Exactly what I say. If people could start, looking on themselves with more love and kindness and acceptance, then they would start pouring that out into their communities as well, right? But it has to start from within us, and then that's when we can take it out into our communities.
And I want to chime in another word. Everybody is actually important. How important is in every individual? We're all part of this web. It's very interesting when you talk about
say it,
pulling
right? But
back.
people have to believe it.
Yeah,
Man. They got to believe it down here.
Yeah, they do. But that's the reality. They have to. That's the reality. Is we're all connected, and
We are.
We are. And so
Spend an hour with Kari.
We're probably in our 20 minutes, aren't we?
And we could always have her back on again. I mean,
we need to.
She's amazing.
Thank you.
This was a great conversation.
Absolutely.
And we were like, guys, I mean, if you're, you know, the iceberg theory, right? Like, we're what just happened is what's above the water. There's a whole thing happening below the water.
So much.
And I encourage everybody to check her out. We're going to throw her link in our show notes so that everybody can just link straight to KarianneMunstedt.com.
Munstedt, yes. KarianneMunstedt.com.
How do you
yeah.
spell the ending for everybody?
Oh, Munstedt. Yeah. I'm glad you'll put it in there because it's Karianne and Munstedt are not easy to spell.
Yeah. So we'll throw that in the show notes so that everybody can connect to you. And, you know, whether it's, you know, headshots for yourself and for business, or maybe it's a maternity shoot or a family portraits, or you're over 40 and you want to look back on, you know, how it's been going, or the boudoir shot,
Yes,
or you want to book her to
absolutely.
speak. It's all on that website.
It's all there.
Is that what you were going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say it's time for you to think about that.
What?
The boudoir shot. I'm
Maybe,
back at
I don't
that.
know. You know
I'm
what
circling
I
back
would
at
love
you.
to do, and this is no bullshit. I would love to do a boudoir shot with my wife.
Yes, I mean I do couples
Like, I would
boudoir
love
as
to
well.
take some
Absolutely.
freaking sexy hot photos.
There we
Yes.
go.
That just
Dial
turn
it
the
up.
temp
We can do
Let's-
that.
Dial it
Really?
in.
100%. I love doing that as well. Yeah.
All right.
You heard it first, folks.
I'm gonna call
And
Nicola
dating
right now.
pictures? Dating pictures? Need any of those?
Possibly.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many ways that we can do this.
Yeah, maybe you should just check her out, upgrade your dating profile. pics or
I
something.
may have to actually.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
Sounds
so
good.
much.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, what a pleasure.
Appreciate it.
All right,
Thank
we're gonna
you so
take
much.
a quick break. We are live from HomeSmart today, and we thank these guys for having us up here. When we come back, we're going to sit down with Jarrett Ransom, and we're going to talk a little philanthropy, so we hope you stick around. See you in a minute.
Buying or selling a home is one of the most important decisions you're going to make, so you deserve someone who truly cares about your journey. I'm Amy Richardson with the Savvy Realty Group and HomeSmart. Living and raising my family in Ahwatukee for nearly 20 years, this community isn't just where I work, it's my home. Growing up in the Midwest, I learned early the importance of connections and relationships. These values shape everything I do. From our initial conversation to long after you've settled into your new home, I'm here to provide ongoing support and guidance. From staging to cutting-edge marketing strategies, we expertly showcase your home to sell swiftly for the highest possible price. So if you're ready to buy or sell, please reach out to me. And remember, important decisions require savvy solutions.
Welcome back to part 2 of our Move the Needle podcast. This is the Jordan episode. Do you know why I said it? Because
yes, it's our 23rd.
23rd
Now
episode.
I finally got it. You know, 2, 3.
It took you a minute.
Yeah,
but we're here now.
Yeah, we're here.
Want to say thanks to HomeSmart for having us up in their beautiful little studio tonight. We're hanging out with a couple of great guests and about to welcome in our second. You want to pay some homage to our
100 plus women,
Yeah,
of
yes,
course.
of course.
Kim Tarnopolski and the whole gang downstairs. We're getting ready for another big meeting.
Every time I tell people about 100 plus women who care, people are like, "That is the greatest idea ever."
It's an amazing organization. I'm super proud that we're a media sponsor and we're actually part of them. I feel, and I want to shout out a new one of our advertising sponsors, Tutor Doctor.
Yeah, what's up, Dee?
Yeah, Tutor Doctor, and of the East Valley and Belle Lissette. Why don't we shout out a little Belle Lissette?
Okay.
Yeah, and there we go.
All right, I love it. Well, let's bring in Jarrett Ransom. She is a philanthropist, a thought leader. Isn't that great to call
Yes.
yourself a thought leader? I love that, right? And how did you get into being a thought leader? What was the crossroads that took you into that place?
You know, that is a great story, an origin story that I love to share. So I was raised in a very small rural town of South Carolina.
Okay.
My parents are both entrepreneurs, and we didn't have a lot of money, but we had a lot of time and a big heart. So my mom actually had our whole family very involved in the community, from picking up trash to serving at soup kitchens to baking cookies for Ronald McDonald House. So that has really just been baked into my DNA, right? To be a servant leader from a young age. Fast forward, right? I got my undergrad in mass communication, my master's in business administration, and I just like to get nerdy. I like to support our communities and strengthen our communities, and hence the nonprofit nerd, moving right into like, how can I do this professionally to strengthen our communities?
So then you started and you opened it up to this. This is a business that you have now.
It is.
So
I
which is-
started in 2009.
Yeah. So I mean, what a great thing to be able to like get paid for doing what you love.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know what's interesting? And we sat down with a woman yesterday. Remember this? We were sitting down with Corbin's legacy.
Yes.
And sidebar, you don't know this story, but you know, the podcast will come out a week before this one does. And we were talking with Corbin's mom, and we were like, you know, because Corbin was this great woman who died way too soon, but they kind of like they continued her legacy by feeding kids, because that's kind of what Corbin was all about. And we learned, I'm talking to mom, that Corbin learned that from mom growing up. It was all about the servant leaders, you know, and getting into the community and helping out. And of course that's where it's baked. And so it's so cool that your mom and dad did that. I tried to do that with my boys, and it's a thing I wish more families got into. It's like, man, get in there and just volunteer, give back, see what that feels like. It changes people.
It changes people. It's not easy, right? Now I'm a mom of a 14-year-old son, and to get him to volunteer with me, and really it's to get him off video games, that's the challenge.
Yeah. It's like pulling teeth.
Yeah.
You're like, come on, son, you'll have a great time. No, I won't.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you will.
Just
No, you won't.
in a minute, I'll be right there.
Yeah, my friends aren't there.
I did see on your bio, we could pivot, we'll come back to this, but that you've been to a bunch of different national parks.
Yes,
I read
saw that.
14 alone with your son. Yeah. So, okay, I'm going to assume the Grand Canyon's on the list.
Actually, yes, it is.
Yeah.
Of course
That'd
it
be
is.
fun if it wasn't. Where else have you gone? What else have you gone and visited?
Yeah, so my work takes me across the nation. I live here in Tempe, but I work nationally. So I had a client in Washington, so I got up to, you know, national parks there. I was in Boston, national parks on that side. One of our favorites, I would say, a couple of summers ago, my son and I purchased a charity raffle, right, a silent auction item, and we ended up in Florida. And so just he and I, and we went to the Florida, you know, Keys, and got to see all of the beautiful reefs and the national parks there in Florida. We also went fishing. So we're making ceviche in our hotel, right? I mean, there's like...
Incredible.
Yeah.
Did you
It
feed
was
the
great.
gators?
Yeah.
We did not.
No.
No, I was afraid that they might, you know, feed on us.
I have this weird core
probably
memory
would.
of like being 11 or 12 down in Florida. We must have gone to Disneyland. We must have gone to some place where there were like a ton of alligators in the thing, and you walked on these little... I don't know, decks or something, and you would be kind of in their world. And I can still
Yeah.
vividly remember that feeling about the just how terrified I was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, anyway, so Florida has
Florida
some
was a good
beautiful
one.
ones. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, the Grand Canyon, Congaree in South Carolina. We've been there.
What's the most majestic of all the parks?
So my favorite is Bryce in Utah. Bryce Canyon. It's
I
the
couldn't agree with you.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. That's the word I would use for it.
but
Majestic.
the hoodoos, right?
I've never been.
It's
Hoodoos.
stacked. Yeah, it's like if you were playing in the sand on the beach, right? And remember, as kids, you would take all the water of the sand and you just try to stack it on top of one another. That's what these rock formations look like in Bryce Canyon. And national parks are nonprofits.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that story kind of, took a little wind out of my sails as far as the question. Unless there's another one, I wanted to know which national park that you would recommend for other nonprofits to go to for inspiration.
For inspiration.
So that's another. Okay, let's go.
Well, I like the inspiration. So I'm big on how are we getting fundraising dollars in the doors at the parks, right? So everything, you go to the gift shop and you see where, and I'm guilty of this too, right? I've fallen for this. You can adopt an animal, a stuffed animal.
Okay.
You do take it home, right? And then the dollars from that purchase go to help the habitat or whatever it is there. So that to me is fascinating.
Where is this at? Which one?
That one I don't know, but a lot of them do it. A lot of them have the the gift shops that will support the park. So that to me is really cool because it's tied in with the mission, and then it ties in with the philanthropy.
Yeah. So she's the host of a podcast. You've got your own pod that you're doing, and what are you spending most of your time talking about? Nonprofit work?
Yeah, so it's Nonprofit Nerd Impact Unleashed, and we actually talk about navigating wellness in the nonprofit sector. So how are we as servant leaders giving to our community and taking care of ourselves as as leaders because we give. Even my license plate reads be of service, but I can't be of service if I can't take care of myself.
Yeah, I love this. I mean, I speak to teachers all of the time, and I literally use the words you just used. I was like, you guys are really good at taking care of other people. You're like the best at it. That's why you're in this role.
So you're going to give us a couple of quick tips?
Forget you got to, you matter too.
Well, I
Yes.
think we've all heard this one. If you've ever been on an airplane, right? It's like you have to put your oxygen mask on first before you put it on someone else. And so really making sure that we have found our own blend of work and life. I actually don't believe in the balance. I don't think
The balance is bullshit.
Yes,
Yes.
it doesn't exist. So to
I
me,
call flow. That's what we need.
Okay.
People need flow in their lives.
I
Like,
call blend.
You gotta
Yeah.
be able to go
Blend
with
flow.
it, man.
yeah, similar. So blend and
I
flow.
call it riding the roller coaster.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes
that's
your
it.
hands are up and sometimes you're gripping saying, holy shit, what is happening?
Sometimes you're having fun and sometimes you're not.
Let me
And
ask you,
sometimes
how
you're
much
scared.
fun is seesaw? Sucks after like 30 seconds, man.
Right.
That's the stupidest game ever.
Boring.
Balance.
Are you still seesawing?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm flowing now.
I've been riding the roller
Took me a
coaster for
long
a
time
long
to
time.
get to that.
Yeah, the
point, but-
dating roller coaster.
Well,
man.
now I'm on that. That's a different roller coaster. I'm the business roller coaster. I'm
Okay.
an entrepreneur roller coaster.
Entrepreneur. And some
for
days
30
you're,
years, yeah.
you're happy, the hands are up, and other days you're holding that bar.
We talked to Mike at State 48. I think I brought this up. My quote is, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you have to learn to ride the roller coasters because every day you do not have your hands in the air. And there's twists and there's
Yeah.
turns and there's ups and there's downs. And so if you can't ride the roller coaster, you're going to be disappointed. So, and you know about that as being, coaching and talking to
do.
entrepreneurs.
I do. And even funny, going back to another parent story, both of my parents are entrepreneurs, right? So I joke and say that I know what it's like to eat steak 1 month and spam the next, right? Because it's that roller coaster.
So yeah, exactly. I try to explain that to people. That's exactly how it is. Yeah, one month you're in Costa Rica. Yeah, the next month you're working 12 hours a day.
Absolutely.
I want to dive into a little bit of the nonprofit stuff that you deal with. There's COVID has produced a sea of entrepreneurs, and it's taken a lot of people, myself included, out of a long-standing career and said, enough of that. I'm ready to do something different. And at its basic level, the difference between an LLC and a nonprofit is what? I mean, many people know the answer, but
it's your tax status.
It's really, that's it.
Yeah, it's your tax status. So nonprofits exist to provide a solution to a community problem.
There it is.
Our communities, we have a lot of problems, right? So like, what is the mission of so many, in fact, 1.8 million registered nonprofits in the U.S. That's how many registered.
Wow, that feels low to me for some reason.
Really? I'm
Because
sure
I
there's
wonder
many
how
that
many
are
LLCs.
unregistered.
And I really I would have no gauge on that. I don't know if that's a lot or a little. I sat there 1.8. I actually said, I don't know if that's a lot or a little. So you're saying that's a lot?
I think that's a lot.
Okay.
So 1.8 million, right? But a lot of those are small nonprofits,
Yeah.
under $1 million operating
Right,
budget.
right.
Majority probably even under $500,000 operating budget.
You're
So
probably
we're
right about
talking
that.
boutique nonprofits.
And you work with bigger nonprofits, correct?
I do. I provide services for a variety, of operating budgets, but yes, really at $1 million and above, because they've proven that they have a business model that's sustainable. They've proven they've got board that is, bought in, staff, and like it's working. They know that this is what they've been doing. Typically, it's about a 3-year and above operating as well, plus that $1 million plus budget.
Yeah. So what are some of the maybe if I can lean on you for some free consulting, it's kind of like and for the benefit of our audience, right? But what are some of those early on mistakes that nonprofits make that you could prevent the skin knees for?
Oh gosh, well, founder syndrome is a big one, right? So every nonprofit has a founder, truthfully. Every nonprofit is started with a founder or
I'm gonna write
founders,
that down.
plural, right? But the thing is, you have to do this beyond yourself. You have to do this truly for that need in the community. Like, what is the problem in the community and how can we help to provide a solution? So really looking at it from beyond your own lens, bringing in stakeholders of the community that you're supporting, making sure that those voices and that representation is there at the table is really important. The biggest skin knees I see truly is that the founder fills their board of directors with their friends and family members. That is such a big no-no.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Yeah.
Well, and it makes a lot of sense, right? People tend to gravitate toward the people they're around the most.
They know, like, and trust.
Right. But that's not who you want in a boardroom. Like, I want the guy in there that I don't agree with. I want somebody in there that challenges me a little bit. I want somebody that opens my eyes up to I didn't see it that way. Like, to me, that's the right people to look for, right?
Connections to funders, right? People with a business acumen
Right.
and like just really savvy when it comes to these business models.
Okay, what about diversification of the board? That would seem to be another. I've been lucky enough to be on some incredible boards, and I can tell you that if you look around the room, there's somebody from marketing, there's somebody who's in finance, there's somebody who's in X, Y, like there's every sector is kind of represented. Is
Very important. Yeah. So diversification and representation in so many shapes and forms is really important. FQHC stands for Federally Qualified Healthcare Centers, and these are hospitals and communities that serve the underserved and uninsured, right, or underinsured. It is a policy in their bylaws that they have to have people from their community, so essentially their patients, on their board.
cool is that?
Very cool.
Yeah. So are there rules and restrictions out there that people don't know about that you wish they did?
There's tons.
I can imagine, yeah.
I mean, we're talking about the IRS here, right? You've got to
luck.
follow the IRS
This
guidelines.
would be a novel. Yeah.
Yeah. So there are some, but I really think, making sure that you are doing an assessment in the community. What is the need? And realizing the need can change. I mean, you just said COVID, right? Like, we're in 2025 now. A lot of things have changed in the last 5 years.
Barreling forward, for sure.
You got something?
Yeah. My question is, how many businesses do you consult with that you feel should have both a profit arm and then develop a nonprofit piece as well? Is that, talk to me about that.
So what you're referring to, I believe, is CSR, corporate social responsibility, right? And so that's...
I know you're telling me something. I'm just saying, like, I know there's some corporations that they have their for-profit division, but they also develop a nonprofit piece.
Right. So I would say for the small businesses, maybe not, although there are small businesses which will absolutely adopt or support charities. But when it comes to the larger companies, right, really looking at that corporate social responsibility, perhaps 2% of our net profit goes to a charity, right?
Gotcha.
Let's say it's let's say they produce food of some sort, right? Well, maybe they want to support nutrition or hunger in certain communities. So a percentage of their profit would go to support that mission alignment.
I gotcha. So and that would go through their nonprofit division of the company? Perhaps. So but that's the type of stuff that do you actually consult with that, or do you send them to, at that point, to CPA to make sure the I's are dotted, T's are crossed?
So I don't work in that realm exactly, but there are absolutely consultants out there focused for that corporate social responsibility. Gotcha. But the thing is, we don't need to create a separate nonprofit, right?
Okay, that was my question.
Yeah, we can give of our money in a philanthropic way without creating a separate 501c whatever, 3 or whatever.
Okay, so I would love, you just mentioned the money word, and I work with, I always tell people, if nonprofit work paid, I'd be a billionaire, right? Like, if it paid as much as other.
So let's make that happen.
Yeah, for sure. But I've been around a lot of nonprofits, and there's a common thread for almost all of them, and it's this fundraising element, right? It's the one thing that how many we've done 23 shows now. We've probably had 20 nonprofits
Plus,
on, and every single one of them, that is one of the biggest challenges they face. What's the blind spot? What are they missing? What are some of these big organizations, or even these small organizations? What are they missing?
Yeah, so every year nonprofits start at zero. So it has to net balance, right? It has to zero balance essentially at the end of the year, which means whatever you raise, you have to spend. It has to go towards their program. So there's no shareholders, there's no stockholders, things like that. So really looking at it from a place of where can we invest those dollars, like an endowment, so that it can make money for us in perpetuity. So really looking at it from a savvy business investment standpoint. But that takes time, which is why the diversification, hard word to say, is really important on the board, right? We have to build up the financial revenue, and it should be made up predominantly of individuals, right? You have grants, you have legacy givers, plan giving. There's a lot of different ways. Earned revenue is another way where you sell your services for pennies on the dollar, right? So it's an earned revenue model. So diversifying is important, but also investing the money that you do have to help you in the future is equally important.
Okay. I feel like we're getting a master class on this today, which is amazing.
Yeah. I have one last question about you working with a lot of entrepreneurs. We've had several entrepreneurs on as well. What's an unexpected lesson that you've learned that you wish other entrepreneurs would know, whether it's in this space or not? Open question.
Well, for me, it's really be willing to do any and everything that's needed.
Okay.
Right. So I do my marketing. I do my finances. Not always, I'm lucky to have a virtual assistant, lucky to have a CPA, but I'm in my 16th year of being an entrepreneur. I didn't start that way 16 years ago.
Right. I hear you. And it's actually healthy. I tell people it's healthy to know every space of your business anyways. You never know when somebody's going to leave town, you're going to be busy. It's good to know that out of the gate. So, that's a great lesson.
Yeah, it's
Thank
fun.
you.
Yeah. All right. So who's the ideal client for you? Is there somebody out there that you're not serving now that you want to?
So currently with today's administration, I'm really looking forward to helping the underserved population. So social justice missions, women's health missions, BIPOC communities. So really looking for the organizations and the nonprofits that are being targeted by today's national administration.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah. So reach out if there's so many people here in the Phoenix area that probably know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. And what I always think is great about coaches, and I've hired them myself over the years, is they just help you see what you don't see. Yeah. And you're able to look at this thing with such a different lens than somebody who's grinding it out day in and day out, right? Which is really cool.
Well, it's hard to see when it's right in front of you.
It's so hard.
She's the nonprofit nerd. She's a nerd, though, so she sees everything.
I love it. She embraces it. Yeah. It's easy to see why she's picked up the awards like 40 Under 40, AZ Central's Woman, who next nominee, the Greater Phoenix Athena nominee, Amazing Women, Arizona recipient, the Global Women's Summit Leadership Award. Like, there's some hardware at the house, y'all. There's some hardware at the house.
She's a winner.
And now we
just
know
like Michael Jordan.
Just like, look at her. She brought it all back.
Yeah.
Love it.
Outstanding job today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming
Love
on the show.
their conversation.
We'll send everybody to the podcast. We'll link to it in the show notes. You want to kind of explain where you are online for folks that want to find you right now? They don't want to wait?
Absolutely. You can find me on LinkedIn, Jarrett Ransom, Jarrett, Ransom, Ransom. Fun, right? Because ransom is like hold you for money, and I do a lot of fundraising.
Yeah, and you make it fun. That's what.
I do.
Yeah, so
I put the fun in fundraising.
Matthew, she's on my coffee list, so you know what that means. So we're
But that means you're going to go get some coffee.
We are.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So
she
just knows that now. But she's been. I was waiting for today to solidify
launch.
that.
Yeah. You wait till we're on the podcast to say, would you like to have coffee
Wait
with
for
me?
the camera to be on me.
Yeah, and she said yes. Did she say yes?
I haven't yet, but thank you.
And then he goes back and he watches your eyes and he's like, no. Okay. All right.
I live close by.
Thank you very much for listening to the podcast today. Move the Needle has some great sponsors. You mentioned them earlier, and we thank HomeSmart for bringing us up here. Is Kim going to come up and chat?
We're going to talk to her, see if we get an update. 100+ women.
If we
we'll
can, great. And if we can't, then the show's over.
Yeah, and we'll catch her next time.
And I'm fine either way.
Yeah, we'll talk to her. Yeah, she may want to say a few words.
We had the 1 and 2 All-Stars today.
Yeah, we did.
I mean, Kim's great. Great, but I really love what happened on today's
conversation
podcast.
Flowed. We'll say that.
Yeah, good stuff.
Love it.
Thank you, Jarrett.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Kari.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it, man. What a great show. Max, thank you for all your hard work.
Always.
And
Magic
Steve,
Max. Thank
see
you,
next
Matt.
time.
Yeah, see ya. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, we did it, Steve. We
I
talked her into it.
I roped her in.
Thank you, Kim.
There was no talking. I had to go
All right.
lasso her down. I had to go bring her.
I was just saying to our former guests, the ladies that we just had on, who I know you know, they're just incredible people. I said every single person that I tell about 100+ women who care, their minds go, what a great idea.
That's what we want.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
we
that
want them to go,
keeps-
that's amazing, and then come check us out. join, and then start donating to charities.
Because you have more than 100 in there sometimes, no?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay,
100
good.
plus, yeah.
100 plus
women who
yes.
care.
And I said how honored and privileged I am, in Matthew and this whole Move the Needle podcast, to be media sponsors of this amazing endeavor. So we're thankful for what you do, and we're grateful to be part of it, and because we
Yeah, it's
feel
been a cool chance to meet some awesome women.
amazing,
Yeah.
and we're just getting cooking 2025. So
So
we're gonna
talk
keep
to us
going.
about how the year rounded up and some of the
Yeah.
cool things that happen, and then what you're teed up for in 25 here.
Great. Well, I mean, we're grateful for you guys too. There's some great
you.
charities out there doing wonderful work in our community, and charities are the organizations that pick up the ball when others don't. So we're very grateful for the exposure that you give our members and our charity representatives. So yeah, 2024 wrapped up 10 years of giving. So we celebrated our 10-year anniversary.
Incredible.
We donated, we have 3 sister groups that meet, Ahwatukee, Scottsdale, the East Valley. We've donated over $182,000 last year, spread out amongst 12 charities. Amazing. So that was great.
Amazing.
And then, 10-year total, almost 1.4 million.
Isn't that exciting?
So-
I mean, you're in it day in and day out. And do you even have the capacity, Kim, to like zoom out and like appreciate what's happened so far?
Yeah, I think so.
Good,
well, I'm very goal oriented.
Got it.
So our goal was 500,000 in the first 5 years. So I was very,
Had to get it.
And then I was like, all right, well, we got that. So then we hit 1 million. So then I was focused on 1 million. So we hit 1 million probably 8.5 years in. So then once I got to 1 million, I kind of exhaled. I was like, okay, that's a big number.
She hit it. She hit
Like,
it early
okay, but now okay, let's get to 1.5. Let's get to 2. Let's just keep growing that impact.
Okay. So what are some of the goals to make that happen in 2025?
Well, it takes 2 things for our process to work.
Okay.
One is members and one is charities.
Yes.
So the more members we have, the more money we donate. The more members we have, the more charities they bring to us.
Can we talk about the membership? How does that work for people? Somebody's listening to us right now.
Yeah.
Like, this sounds amazing. I want to be a member.
Our concept is really simple. You fill out a form, you become a member, you commit to at least a year, and you donate $100 once a quarter. We meet 4 times a year. We're in and out of our giving circles in 1 hour. So it's a really simple way to make
For a
a
mere
difference.
$400, I'm in for the year.
And they're-
Pension women out there.
Yes.
Oh, mere $400.
Yes.
You're part of this amazing
Yes.
organization.
And
Seems
I-
like the cheapest buy-in to the most incredible network of people
Well-
ever.
And they have fun too. You hear them down there? This is
Yeah.
it's not like they get together. We've seen it. We're again being a media sponsor. We've been a chance to all 3 of your meetings, and everybody seems to have a blast. They go to dinners beforehand, afterwards.
do.
There's a lot of camaraderie. So it's
Yeah.
an amazing organization.
Well, and I
overall.
will mention, the vast majority of our members are individual members, but women can also join as a team of 2, 3, or 4. So we want to be inclusive of all giving budgets. And if they want to share that quarterly contribution amongst friends, they can do that.
This little thing just keeps getting better.
Yeah.
I mean, everything about this 100 plus women who care is just remarkable. The
Yeah.
way you've set this whole thing up and the way you guys continue to do the work here in the
Thank
Valley.
you.
Okay, so you're going downstairs. What's going to happen tonight?
We are going to hear from the charity representative that we selected last quarter, which was New Song Center for Grieving
Oh, yeah,
Children.
we had them on the show.
We had 'em
So that charity representative will come back and they will say thank you, and they will tell our members how they use the donations. So that's a full circle moment for our members. Put a nice bow on that. And then we hear from 3 other members tonight who nominated charities. We'll hear about their charities. We vote, we write checks again, we donate again, and we just every quarter we put a big old spotlight
awesome.
on the charity that's selected.
Can you share what the charities are? Do you know what they are off the top of your head for tonight?
I do know what they are. Friends of Ohana, which is a foster care organization. Mom's Pantry, which is a food bank. And Harvest Compassion Center, which they are actually also a food bank, but they have a clothes pantry. They
Are they in
Plus.
Central Phoenix?
Harvest Compassion Center has 2 or 3 locations. One is Maryville, one is North Central Phoenix. It's a great place. I'll do this plug for them because we actually have supported this charity years and years ago. So they have this clothes pantry. So for the men here in the room, they always need men's clothes and men's shoes. So if
Really?
you are cleaning out your closet, Harvest Compassion
You always need to get rid
Center.
of those old shoes. You
Yeah.
sit around.
Yes.
It's like, get rid of these things.
Harvest
Well,
Compassion
and just the
Center.
clothes that don't fit anymore, because I put on weight or I lost weight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
I'm like-
that's don't take it to Goodwill. Nothing wrong with Goodwill, but Harvest Compassion Center can really use that.
They like to
Good
say
to know.
they're all winners tonight, but
Okay.
Yes.
one will take home an award.
We'll walk
Or is
out
what
with a
they
little
say-
bit more.
One will take
yeah.
home over $10,000.
Which is an award you call
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
So, which is nice. But they're amazing charities every week.
Yeah.
They just keep every meeting, every quarter they bring them in. There's amazing charities that are people doing. I mean, everybody we've had on the show, and I've been working with Kim for a long time.
Yeah.
They are doing amazing. I mean, the what people call boots on the ground. Most of these people are hands-on, doing the work, and it's amazing. And Kim, I can't say enough about Kim. Again, let's give a shout out to her. She's the leader. Things don't happen without that energy at the top. And I've seen
Max,
her.
get a close up of her face while
Yeah.
we're talking about
Yeah,
it.
no, we talked about riding the roller coaster. We talked about the last guest entrepreneurs riding that roller coaster.
Yeah.
Kim's somebody that could sit here now and
She's the
enjoy.
best.
But she
I
started
adore her.
this 10 years ago
Yeah.
with a select few on a group. But she's the
Yeah.
leader,
Mm.
and without that energy, it doesn't get where it's at. So congratulations, Kim.
Thank
you
you.
need to feel good about it, and you should sit back and say, we've got these goals, and
Yeah.
let's get some other ones. So
Absolutely.
again, proud of you and
Aw.
proud to
Man,
be
he
part
just
of this.
pumped the tires big time,
Yes,
didn't
he
he?
did.
I always,
Thank you.
listen, she
I
knows I
know.
always pump her tires.
I know.
Listen,
He's
she's
a
one of
good
my
friend.
heroes. She really
Yeah.
is. She's been at it
Yeah.
a long time.
I
You
love
know,
it.
so she's no newbie.
All right. Thank
All
you
right.
for coming up
Thanks,
and crashing
guys.
the party. Appreciate you.
Appreciate
Have
it.
fun tonight.
Thank you.